Hello friends, this video is again on top N. It was based on one of my previous video. The link is in the description. A, in the video comments, Mr. J reached out to me and he has some other uh, solution he's looking for on top N. What he's looking for, look at his question here. He has a sales by gross income by companies. So what he wants, top 20% companies, and compare the average gross income of top 20% companies with the rest of the companies. Two things he wants to do. So first, get the average of gross income of the top 3 companies, compare it with the rest of the companies, and also compare it with the selected company. So let's say he mentioned here, let's say the top 3 companies turn out to be 38,372. These are company codes, and their gross income is 2.11 million, which is here. And then he want to compare the 2.11 million of these top three companies with rest of the companies in the table, plus a slicer where a user can pick the company and compare that top 3 companies average gross income with the selected company. Let's get to Power BI. Here what user has put together, there's a one table called sheet 1 where there is a ROM, I don't know what this column is, and then the gross income. And user want the actually top 3 based on the ROM value of the ROM column, and then get the average gross income. So here he's showing ROM, which is a sum of sheet 1 ROM by customer. So these are the, he said top 20%, but in the example it is basically coming out to be top 10% because there are 30 customers and 20% is 6 customers. So in case I want to use 20%, so those will be up to 58. But the example he gave is like top 10%, which is a 30 customers, and the top 10% are 3 customers, which is 33, 38, 3, and 72. We will use that as an example, but the percentage can be increased and decreased as a user want. First thing I did is I created a customer table. This is important as a dimension and fact we want to work with. And I created a company table. It's called, I just took the distinct value of the sheet 1 company and then filtered where the company is not blank. I found some records as a blank company and as a value. So I filtered that. So this gave me a unique list of companies here. And then I created a relationship between this company table with the sheet 1 on the company. And I already wrote a measure, top customer based on percentage. Again, this measure is purely based on the previous top N video I did. Basically what I'm having is storing like top 1, what the percentage we're looking for, it's 10%, 0.1, and we can have what if parameter. And then I'm not going to walk through this whole measure. You can watch my previous video. So end of the day, what this measure does is give us the gross income of average gross income of the top 10% customers based on the ROM, ROME column which is used. So if I put this measure in the display here, so we're going to seeing it as an KPI, so which is 2.11 million. That's what he mentioned in his example. At this point now what we got is top 3 companies average gross income based, the top 3 companies based on the ROM column. Okay, so this is done. So now what he's looking for is compare this 2.11 million with the other companies. To make this happen, since we don't have a customer which is a say top customer or top company, what we need to do is create another table which has a row with the top companies, because otherwise we want to display that as part of our visual. So what I did here is I created another table with DAX. What it is doing is it's again same thing. It is getting the distinct value from sheet 1. I created two columns in here. One is company name. I converted the company because he gave me just a number field in the value. So there is a company code and company name which I created here. So company name is just the actual company column converted into string, and the company code is I kept it as a sheet 1 company. So and appended another row to it, which I called a top companies. The reason I converted to string because we want to append another row which will the value will be top companies. If I don't convert this to string, this will be number because the company column is number, and when I try to append I will get an error because integer and number and string would not append. So I converted into string. So here I am top companies. This is one of the value, and then I gave it a code -1. So assuming there is no -1 code. Now this created a table which would look like uh, let's see, company with top row. So I have a company name which is just the code, and then I have a company code. So top companies also is there -1. The reason why I gave it a -1 because I want the a code outside the existing company codes. So one other thing I did here is my company name, I have sorted it by company code. So what does that means is as we all know what the sort does is if I display this for example company name here in the list, and because it is sorted by the company code and top companies is a -1, it shows on the top. So now I can have a list a cust companies with the top company as part of that list. So now we have two tables. One is a company table which is just a dimension table unique value, and then company with a top with another row in here. Now this is very important point here is every time we create a model, we always have a dimension and fact, and we set the relationship which is usually active relationship. But here I have to make it inactive. I have created company with top row, and then I created this relation. I have created the relationship with the sheet 1 on the company code, but I kept it inactive. I explicit mentioned here when I create the relationship, don't make this relationship active, and we will look into that why that is why I did that. So sometimes making the relationship inactive is also important depending on the solution you are building. So in this case it was important to keep this relationship inactive. So we are again now from the model perspective, we have a company which is filtering the sheet 1, and then the company with the top row, and that is a relationship on the company code, but it is inactive relation. Now going back to our measure here, what we're going to do is so that was the measure I did. So until this point we know what is the average income of the top company. So we're going to extend this measure now further. What we're going to do here is I'm going to use if max of top companies with row, my company code is equal to -1 or whatever the value we gave. So it means if my row context is I'm on the top company's value in my company with top row table, then I want to show the top company's average income, because at that time I want to show the average of the top 3 companies. And if I'm not in that particular row, then what I want to do here is I want to have a average income, average gross income. This is just another measure, and what I want to do here is I want to make my inactive relationship active, and so that is a company with top row company code, and it has a sheet 1 company. And what this will do when we are not on -1 row, this will take average gross income and make our relationship active. So let's do this. So use relationship is forcing the relationship to be become active from inactive only in specific in this particular measure when we use this measure. So now let's see how does this all pans out. So first thing what we're going to do is I'm going to use the company name from my company with the top row table. That's important. That's the one we're going to use because it has the top company rows. And then the new measure which we created, top customer, uh, based on percentage. So now what I have is top companies, which is 2.11 million, as maybe make it a little bit bigger. Great. 14. So now what I have is top companies with the 2.11 million and rest of the companies their regular gross income. Now the reason I just mentioned before that I need to keep that relationship inactive. If I don't keep that relation inactive and make it active, see what happens here. So let's go back to our relationship, make this active. So company is filtering sheet 1, as we can see the relationship direction. So what happens is the top companies, that row disappear from here because there is in sheet 1 there is no customer with -1 or the company with the top companies, because that is getting calculated on the fly. So that's the reason we want to keep that relation inactive. So it's very important to know why we need this relationship, because for other customers, other companies, we need the average gross income, but for the reason of the top companies, we don't need that relationship to be active. So I created this as an inactive. So now you can see the importance of inactive relationship and the use relationship function. So now we have a top companies, and now we can compare it with the others as well. And user wanted to use it as in a funnel chart. He can click on a funnel chart. Now he can see the top companies on the top, and then rest of the companies show up here. And one of the other ask is I also want to, the user mentioned that he also want to compare it with the other selected customer. So what we can do is I will make it back to a table just for the easy to read. So I will make a copy of this. So this one is giving us a top companies average gross income with rest of the companies. So this one we will use as based on the selected one. So what we can do is now we go back to our original company table, which does not have the top companies row, and bring that as in a slicer, because we don't want to slice on top companies or that particular label. So I will make this as a list. So one thing we will take advantage of here, edit interactions. If you don't know what edit interaction is, that can allow how these visuals work with each other. You can disable the interaction. So what I'm going to do here is, see, if I select any of the visual right now, it filters both the visuals, and which I want this to be filtered because I want the top companies to be compared with the selected company, but this one I don't want to be filtered. So what I can do here is I go to format and go to edit interactions. Come on, click on edit interaction. So if I have click on my slicer, I can change it to none because I don't want this visual to be filtered. Okay, perfect. So that's that simple. So we can take advantage of edit interactions. So now we have answer of both the questions which a user has put together. So if I select a customer from my slicer, I see the comparison, how the top companies are doing against that 27 customer, the one I selected. But here I'm seeing against all the customers. I can take it to the next level as well. One of the thing I did here is I created actually we can create another measure, color. What we can do is we can have the top companies highlighted as in a different color. So let's say if max of again company with top row company code is equal to -1, then let's say the color is red, otherwise whatever the default color is. And oh, sorry, I think I did a mistake here, trying to be so fast, so missed closing this. Okay, so let's use that color. So what I'm going to do is make this as a bar chart, just in to highlight the color thing. We can do it in the visual in the matrix as well. So that one is showing selected customer, but this one is showing all. So what we can do is the top company one. As you can see, this is on the first one. We can have the data color here, FX, and then we can choose our measure which we created, which is color. And now our top companies is shown as in a red, whatever that value is, and the rest of the companies are in the blue. Now again, I can create a what if parameter. Instead of 0.1%, I can have a whatever the what if parameter I select. Let's say I pick top 20% companies, and if I do this, so now top 20% company is a 4 million instead of 2.11 million before, and as you can see, the red bar has gone high, and then we are comparing against the rest of the companies, other companies. With this particular solution, we have seen few things that we created a separate table for the customers, companies, and then appended a row in there for the top companies so that we can visualize that. We created a relationship with our transaction table, and with this new table we created, which has the row of the top companies, and then kept that relationship inactive, and in our measure we activated that relationship when we wanted to see the data. I hope you find this video useful, and do watch a previous video on top end. The link is in the description, because that will give you an idea how you can get the top 20% 10% customers, and then this is just an extension of that. There will be more videos coming up. Do subscribe my channel, and until next video, have a great day. Bye for now.